Good evening, everybody. My name is Hilary Hunt, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to this evening's webinar. We are going to be featuring the fantastic curriculum and resources available from Take Charge today later on. But first off, I wanted to just welcome everybody. My name is Hilary Hunt. I serve as the director of the Making Sense Project, which, as some of you might know, is a partnership between the Pennsylvania Department of Education and Penn State University. And these webinars are just part of what we do with that effort. As those of you who have attended webinars of ours in the past would know, we have sort of take a three-pronged approach to what we do here with our webinars, focusing in some cases on enhancing content knowledge and in others with financial literacy resources such as this evening, and then still others where we focus on professional information. So actually come the new year, we will dive in January on that professional information side of things with an update on the proposed personal finance standards for Pennsylvania, which is very exciting news. We have those standards in the works with the State Department of Education. And in fact, that webinar is timed that it will be right after the State Board of Education meets in January. So that I will be able to give you literally like an up to the minute or up to the week update, and hopefully share with you a much more detailed update than I have been able to in the past. So make sure that your calendar is marked for that. Then we have continuing on the third Thursday of each month in February, we're going to be talking about engaging students in or getting them engaged with actual physical games. So these aren't, online games. These are the kinds of things that you play there in your classroom, across the table from somebody else with cards or a board or what have you. We're going to do some that are ones that you would, purchase online, but also some that you can just print on your own or what have you. And then in March, we're going to focus on elementary and middle school financial education. And then we'll have two more dates in April and May that we will announce later on. So hopefully you can join us for those. In addition, I'm excited to share with you that we have selected our books for our book studies for this year. We're going to do a winter session, which is something that we haven't tried before, but we figured, hey, while the weather's outside is frightful, we'll snuggle up with a book. This is The Richest Man in Babylon, and we're going to be reading from the Modern Language Edition, which is a newer take on this nearly 100-year-old book. It is one that has it's nice and short. It's about 100 pages, and it has been used by a lot of teachers I know over the past decades, really. And this version, I think, is a little bit more approachable for students. So we're going to take a look at this, read it, talk about the stories that are in the book, as well as how we can use that in classrooms. And then similarly, another book that I know a number of teachers use, they purchase classroom sets and those kinds of things, is the book How to Adult. And so same type of thing there. We're going to be taking a look at, how are these personal finance concepts or lessons or what have you introduced? How are they organized, and how might you use this information either in part or in whole in your classroom? So if you've done one of these with us before, the format will be similar for anybody who has not. What we do is we do these in Penn State's Canvas platform. So those are, it's all asynchronous. So we typically provide a weekly schedule, and then each week we have a series of prompts. And so on a chapter or two, I might offer 2 or 3 or 4 questions. You select which question from that list you wish to answer, and then you provide your answer. And once you answer it, then you can see what others have said. And so, and then there's an expectation that you reply back. So it's, pretty easy. It is very flexible in that regard. We are looking to try and get books ordered for people as long as you are a currently teaching educator here in Pennsylvania. And we are offering a free free copy of the book for the first 50 teachers that sign up for each session. So the session or the registration is open and available on our website. So makingsensepa.org. If you go to the professional development tab and then book studies, you'll see that there is a registration there now for The Richest Man in Babylon. We will provide a registration as we get a little bit closer on how to adult, but we would love to have you join us for one and or both of those. Last but not least, I would love to see you in person if you happen to be coming tomorrow, actually, to Grantville to the PBEA conference, or maybe some of you are already there. And then we have the SAS Institute coming up in December, where I will also be presenting. That tends to be a lot of administrators. So if you happen to know if your administrators are going or hear that they're going to be out those days, or want to mention it to them, you can mention that there'll be sessions on financial education at that. In particular, we'll be talking about some of the, what's going on with the new standards, and also local implementation. So with that, it is my pleasure to turn things over to Lisa Bender. Lisa is an incredible advocate for and wealth of information and resources for financial education. I've had the pleasure of working off and on again with Lisa now for probably, I don't know, 15, maybe almost 20 years. Back even when she was still in the classroom, she is now retired and from public education, but not from financial education. So Lisa, it is wonderful to have you with us. I'm going to stop sharing so that you may share your screen. I will turn things over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's see here. I've already got my wheel started for attendees so we can give away a prize at the end of the night. So that's always a good thing. And let's get started. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. It's exciting to be with the Pennsylvania teachers. I had the pleasure of joining Hillary back in early October at Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, for a Jumpstart event. And we were talking there, and she asked if we could get together to do a virtual webinar for all of you. And I'm happy to be joining you this evening to do just that. As Hillary said, my name is Lisa Bender, and I am a retired teacher from Maryland Public Schools. I did teach 30 years there. And during my time as a teacher in the classroom, I was a business educator, and I advocated strongly for Take Charge Today to be used as a curriculum in our newly created financial education mandated course for to graduate from the high school in our county in Maryland. You good folks in Pennsylvania have all of those different townships and districts, 500 or something districts, and we have, lo and behold, 23 counties. So I don't know how Hillary keeps her mind straight on some of these things, but in any case, I used the Take Charge Today classroom in my class, and it was a game changer because of the way it engaged my students, and it helped make me a better teacher. I'm totally convinced of that, because the curriculum was written by teachers for teachers. So I'm definitely an advocate of their program, and I've continued to work with them since I've retired. They are based, Take Charge Today is based out of the University of Arizona and the Center for the Philosophy of Freedom and Free Enterprise. And we also want to thank not just the center on campus, but also Intuit as an education partner, and help allow people like myself And earlier today, another team member of ours from Maryland, Lynette, to give a presentation to train teachers. So tonight, what we're doing is taking a little bit of time to look at some active learning tools that Take Charge Today has in our entire curriculum. We embed some of these active learning tools into each lesson, and there's so many of them, it would take several webinars to train you on doing those. But tonight we thought, let's just concentrate on ways to teach vocabulary and make it intentional for your teaching of the students. There will be a little bit of time likely at the end where you could jump on and make an educator account. It's free. With Take Charge Today, our entire curriculum is free to use, and we have more than 25,000 teachers in every state in the US using our curriculum. And then we have a prize to give away at the end of the night. That's always good. So, some of the things we're going to talk about tonight, I'm just going to show you virtually how each of these different games and activities can be used to introduce vocabulary to your students, reinforce vocabulary to your students, summarize concepts to your students, get them up and moving in some cases, and all of those things. This is a glance at our homepage for Take Charge Today. If you become an educator user, you would simply go online, and where it says create a new account, you would do that, and it would ask you pretty much like you're becoming a member of any online organization, your name, where you teach, the name of a principal, or you could use Hillary's name or my name as somebody that has introduced you to Take Charge Today. And then once we get your request to start a new account, we will send you an email that you would verify, and then you get free access to all of our lesson plans, our PowerPoints, our answer keys, our activities, and a few other things to support teachers. You can see here that we have a list of upcoming events on our homepage. I think I screenshotted this back in this late summer as I was doing that. But personally, myself, this fall, my goodness, I've been to Florida and Washington State and Ohio, and I'm heading to Nashville here soon. So we do training throughout the year, not just in the summer months when teachers have a little bit more time, but we do it virtually, and we do it in person now that we're away from the pandemic a little bit. Our curriculum has educator-oriented principles, and it's written by teachers for teachers. We are a vendor of free personal finance education that brings to you, the teacher, easy to implement turnkey lessons. We know that with students in today's world, in today's classroom, you need to keep them engaged. So whether it's some online engagement, or whether it's driven by and facilitated by the educator to get them to work in small groups or individually, these are things that are written into our program, because we're teachers ourselves who all work for Take Charge Today, and we've either been in the classroom or just came out of the classroom And we've got trainers on our team who are still in the classroom. We also continually update our strategies and pedagogy practices, and also our lesson plans. I was talking with Hillary a little bit and explaining that I was deep in the trenches of rewriting and updating the paying for higher education lesson that we have, because of all the changes that are coming December 1st to the FAFSA. And so we'll be making some changes and updating our filing your income tax lesson. So we're constantly looking and seeing where we need to do updates and push those out to all of you. With these turnkey lessons, in each lesson, you get the first thing that shows up is a cover page, and you see that on the left side of your screen. This tells you a little bit about why this topic for this lesson is important. It will give you some suggested teaching tools and ideas, but not certainly all of them that we have in the lesson. And it will tell you what can students do and produce and engage with in a lesson. And then you can't see it there, but there's a little piece at the bottom of the page for teacher notes, where you could sit at your computer and type in what went well, what didn't necessarily go well for you for the first time you taught this lesson, or the latest time you taught this lesson. And some teachers tell us that they print out each cover page of a lesson plan and have it in a little notebook, and then they handwrite what went well right after the lesson, so that they have something to guide them the next time they teach it. So we encourage all of our educator users to make it your own. Find out what works best for you and for your students. And as teachers, sometimes that changes from year to year, and from course to course, and from semester to semester, based on the students that you have in class at any given period at any different time of the day. But our turnkey lessons, we have assessments, we have resources, we provide PowerPoint presentations, we provide information sheets, answer keys, worksheets, and all of these lessons are available at an introductory level, which we like to say would be a middle school level, and then also an advanced level with high school. And we have some colleges using our lessons for early years of college, coming in and teaching them some financial literacy. We have military using our lessons. We have Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts using our lessons, extension agents using our lessons. So it is a wide variety of people who come to us for some ways to engage with students about the topic of personal finance. Many of our activity-based materials and themes and activities and tasks are a myriad of different approaches and ways to engage your learners. We will be talking about some active learning tools, but we also have some lessons tied to service learning connections and how your students could do something in the framework of service learning for and through personal finance. We have a children's literature section that is very wide and broad, and we're adding more and more high school books and activities, as well as many elementary and middle school books and activities. We have visual aids that are part of our active learning tools. We have some simulations. You see there the Perez family case study, a budgeting simulation that is very popular for teachers to use. We have some suggested ways to integrate technology in a lesson. We offer some movies about personal finance with activities and lessons to go along with those movies pre-made. And we've even started creating some online lessons or online games to connect with our lessons. Here is a graphic that shows our themed units of study. And under each of these 8 units of study are housed many different lessons. I think in the earning unit itself, there's like 16 different lessons about careers and income and getting paid and paychecks and paying taxes and things like that. So we have take charge of your financial well-being, how to live a balanced life, and balance the ideas of intellectual and social and emotional and physical learning and financial learning as well. Managing your money, earning, receiving, which is very unique from other vendors of personal finance. That's where you would find that Perez family budgeting simulation and other lessons. It has to do with receiving from the government when there are people in need through the many different government programs, but also receiving from family, friends, and nonprofits when you are down and out and need some help, or you want to give back and help others. So especially this time of year, what a great topic and different lessons to engage with for giving back to your community. We have lessons on saving and investing, spending and borrowing, distribution of wealth, meaning estate planning and the importance of wills, and also philanthropic contributions and planned giving as part of your own estate. And then a relatively new unit of study that we have is entrepreneurship. And we have some fabulous lessons on entrepreneurism, running your own business, leadership, and social giving and social responsibility of entrepreneurs. So that's a new one. If you're familiar with Take Charge Today, you might want to check that out because that's just been added in the last 6 months. And you may or may not know that our curriculum has a special section in our popular active learning tools that we call vocabulary reinforcement activities. And hopefully there'll be time I can take you to show you what that looks like from our webpage. But we also have a master vocabulary list that has more than 400 terms that come from all of our lessons, the terms and definitions arranged in alphabetical order. And we've just put in a master vocabulary list that is in Spanish for those of you that are teaching in that type of scenario. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these different engaging vocabulary activities. I will tell you that the ones you're going to see aren't necessarily only tied to personal finance. No matter what type of teaching domain that you're engaged with, you could use those activities. And I speak from my own personal situation because my husband was a high school teacher just like myself. And he kept stealing all these wonderful activities that we used to do for his AP government and politics class and his world history classes and things like that. So whether you're teaching math, science, personal finance, you could implement some of these in your class. So let's start with alphabet brainstorming activity. In this active learning tool, you would see a worksheet that you could print off or share to all of the students through a learning management system so that they could type their answers in if that's the type of classroom that you have. And this is just showing the first page of this. Of course, we would go through the entire alphabet, but you are basically just tasking the students to brainstorm, whether individually or with a partner, like a shoulder partner, or in small groups. What are some words that you've heard used with the topic that you're teaching right now? Let's say it's credit. If you're using that, and I believe we can go to the next slide, for instance, here is A, B, C, D. I just went ahead and threw those out as I was creating this presentation. So maybe or maybe not, the students would have heard of APR. They may or may not know that. They might have heard of the word borrower or credit card, credit line, a due date of a payment. So working together, they would try to see how many words they could come up with associated with the topic that you're teaching. And then you would share out so that if a student team or a student themselves didn't get a word for, let's say, the letter F or G or H, and someone else did, they could put those in as you debrief with the whole class. Okay? So that's one that's a relatively easy way to introduce vocabulary to your students. A fun way to get them up and moving. A great way to review is something we call Bonus Basket Review, an active learning tool from us. And it's so simple to set up. All you need is basically a half sheet of paper, a couple half sheets of paper, I should say. You will need, as the teacher, a list of the vocabulary terms and the definitions from whatever lesson you've just taught and you want to review with them before moving on, before they have a test or a quiz. And you need either a basket, a hat, a trash can, something handy in the classroom, and you are set. How this plays out is you would divide the students into, I don't know, 2, 3, or 4 teams, depending on how large your class is. And they can work together in each team. So you'd want them separated and sitting together so that they can collaborate. And you would go ahead as the teacher and you would start with, let's go with team 1, but all the teams should listen as you explain or define the vocabulary term, because if the first team doesn't get it, it moves on to the second team to try and grab those points. So you've got your team set up, they're sitting together, they can collaborate, and you, the teacher, have the piece of paper from the lesson plan that has your vocabulary terms and definitions. And you read to team 1 the definition of, let's go with APR. And the teams can collaborate and quietly talk. What do they think this answer is? You ask team 1, what's your answer? If they give you the appropriate term, then they score a point. If they score a point, now they get to have a bonus point, just like a foul shot in a basketball game. You have the team, a member of that team come up, you wad up the paper, the half sheet of paper into a ball, hand it to them, make sure they're standing, kind of far away, just like a foul shot on a basketball court, and have them go ahead and toss that into your basket, your hat, your trash can, whatever. And encourage each team to cheer for the person who's going to be at the foul line, just like you would at a physical basketball game, right? Now, if team one didn't get that answer correct, they cannot send anybody to go up and get a bonus point. And it would go to team two. If they go ahead and give you the correct answer, they send somebody up to get the bonus point. What you have to be a little bit conscious of and aware of is you can't send the same person up to shoot the basket for the foul shot to earn the extra point each time. You have to, make sure everybody runs through that. So that's a fun way of just bringing a little bit of competition into your class and going ahead and making it a little bit competitive and cheering for each other. Speedy spelling. You can see here, this is taken at a teacher training I did in Florida not too long ago. We have teachers fully engaged in trying to spell out the answer correctly. And you can sense from what they're doing, they're working together. There's other team members that are seeing if they're going to get this right and get their team some points. They're cheering each other on. Once you make the supply of the full sets of alphabet letters for this activity, you don't have to make them again. You're set. Just, put them in a Ziploc bag or put them in an envelope, and you're ready to pull those out anytime you want to use this as a review game or some other way. But I would suggest having cardstock to print the letters on. There's actual letters the size of what you see here in this picture that you could just simply print off from our lesson plan and then just cut them out. You might want to laminate them. That's what I've done. So as I travel around and do this activity, it's easy to make sure that I'm ready to go with those laminated letters. Because so many letters or words in the English language have more than the same letter in them. I'm looking at my screen, I'm seeing the word recommend, I'm seeing the word printing has 2 N's, full has 2 L's. So that's why we recommend making 2 sets for each team to use to be able to spell out the words that they're guessing. So we suggest maybe team A gets a blue set, 2 blue sets, team B, 2 orange sets, team C, 2 green sets, etc. And then they're all competing at the same time. You're going to read the vocabulary definition, and they're going to work together collaboratively as a team, and they're going to try to spell the word correctly. So I think if you were doing a career unit, you could make a list of all the different employee benefits and have a definition that comes from the lesson plan, and go ahead and have them compete to see who can spell that. And then they get correct points for spelling it quickly, hence the term speedy spelling cards. So I've done this with teachers, I've done with this with students, and they all really have a good time trying to beat their other teammates. If you haven't used foldables in the classroom, this is a great way to get kids away from screens, not online reading. You're not lecturing. This is a way for students to take the information that you want them to consume from the content of the topic you're using and teaching, and then have them go ahead and make a foldable of important points from what they're studying. Maybe they're using the PowerPoint, and instead of you lecturing through the PowerPoint, they read through it and they create their own foldable of what they feel they want to remember. On our website, we have pictures of lots of different types of foldables that you can use in the classroom. Here, this young lady is creating one for the different types of stocks, and this might be the first time that the student has ever heard of growth stocks, income stocks, value stocks, blue chip stocks. And this could be a great tool to use before they take a quiz or a test. Here's some more examples. Here's the one that the young lady was creating for our fundamentals of investing lesson. You open up and you see here's the bonds and the definition on the next page, mutual funds and the definition from the lesson. So she put a lot of time and effort into defining terms that are really the first time she's ever heard of these. Here's another one where you take your cardstock paper, and in this case, you fold it like a hot dog, and then you just use scissors to cut the flaps. And this was done by a student for a lesson that we have in our collection called Digital Citizenship. And underneath, as you lift up, it defines what catfishing is, what a computer virus is, what a firewall is. So those are just some ideas related to foldables. A mini dictionary activity. This is fun, and it may take some of you back to your childhood a little bit if you ever played that crazy game with the card where you manipulate the paper that's folded there. This is done really well in a small group of 3 to 4 students. So you might have, 6 or 7 small groups in your class. Cardstock paper is a really good way to have this be integrated with this activity. You need some colored markers or crayons for each group. And then the vocabulary list from whatever lesson you're teaching, hand one of those lists to each of the small groups. And as the small group talks about the terms, and you could do this as an introductory vocabulary, not just a reinforcement tool as well. Have them choose 8 terms from the lesson. There might be, as many as 16 terms or 20 terms, but have them choose 8 that they're most unfamiliar with. And that's what will be put down and written inside of the design of what you see on the picture on the screen. Then once you have the term and the definition written in this mini dictionary, you want to make sure that you write the different colors that the student will be using. And remember how you open and close your fingers to make this manipulative, and you spell out GREEN, and you come up with the different terms. So one student will manipulate the mini dictionary. The next student in the group will look at the term and they'll have to define it. And then you have the person who is manipulating the mini dictionary. They look under the flap, and is that second student's definition close enough to say, yes, that is the correct definition for this term. Now, you don't tell them it's correct yet or not. You ask the third student in the group, do you agree or disagree with what your friend gave as the definition? So that's how you kind of collect points in this game. And when I used to do this in the classroom, there was always a lot of chatter. There was always a lot of laughter, and it gets a little loud. But this is a fun way for students to do something other than, being on their screens and having that screen time all the time as we're coming out of the pandemic. So they probably would appreciate being able to play a fun game in small groups within their class. Now, we also in our lesson found a video from YouTube to show students how to fold this paper to make that mini dictionary. So if you can't remember, or maybe you never had a chance to play this type of game, there is a link to a video to show how to make this particular manipulative. And it's kinesthetic learning and working in small groups. And those are all good things. If you want to use technology and you have devices like a tablet or a phone that can scan QR codes, you can easily set up a QR code scavenger hunt. You would print the pages of QR codes. We have one lesson, we have a couple lessons actually that have QR codes pre-made with vocabulary in them. The one I'm thinking about when I was creating this presentation was our basics of taxes. So you would print out those QR codes that are pre-made by us, or if you want to create one for a brand new lesson, you just have to print those out after you've made them, hang them up either in your classroom or outside in the hallway so that students can get up. They work with partners, and they would each scan each QR code. Maybe you have 10 or 12 of them. As they go around, doesn't have to be in any particular order. They write the text that shows up as they scan the QR code. And then they have to go back with their partner into the classroom and try to play a matching game of the definitions are here. What is the definition for excise taxes? Because that was one of the terms that was scanned in the QR code scavenger hunt. So this would probably take a good 20 minutes, I would say, if you have 10 or 12 terms to define. And each pair of students needs to have one device where one person scans it, the other person takes the notes of what comes up with each of the scanned QR codes. Then they go back, work together, and match up the scanned code with the definition. So I think they would like that. I remember doing this, and I used to do it a lot around Halloween, and the kids really enjoyed being up, being moving, working with partners. The forehead detective game, that's fun. And again, there's another one, working in small groups, a lot of laughter, a lot of good sharing of information. Maybe you've played this game with little ones. I know there's one, we play it with our grandkids where they have to wear a hat on their head and pick up a term and stick it in the hat. But this is really simple to do with sticky notes, so you don't need special hats or anything like that. But you would have the students give each group several sticky notes and have the kids write down the each vocabulary term from the lesson that you're teaching, and have them put them in a basket like you see in the picture on the left. And then each student picks up a piece of paper with the note on it. They can't look at the note. They stick it on their forehead, and they have to go around to the other members that are sitting in the group and ask them questions to get the other members of the group to help them answer what word or term they're trying to guess. So if it was credit card is the term, the student could ask, different things about what the term might be. And then each person takes a turn as you go around the group, and you just continue until all of the vocabulary words have been guessed. If you have access to some games of Jenga, this is a fun way to introduce and/or reinforce vocabulary with students. It's very simple to do. For each Jenga game, you would want to number each Jenga piece. And you can see some of the numbers in this picture on the screen. This is showing students who were reviewing 3 different lessons in a unit about credit before they took a unit exam. And so you have on this side with the pink paper, you have terms and definitions from a lesson from Take Charge Today called Credit Basics. And this is just a printout of the vocabulary list. There's another lesson called Understanding Credit Cards, and you see the terms and definitions. You see also that these are numbered 1 through 7 or 8, and then it goes and continues. And on the back, there's another lesson. So each group of students that are working together to play Jenga would have a credit card list. And I think this teacher made a list of all the different terms from the 3 units of study so that it could help the students remember and connect, since they were reviewing for a really big exam. Then just as you play Jenga, you try and slide a piece out. Whatever piece you slide out has a number, and the person who is leading the group, who has the term and the definition, can choose to ask the person playing Jenga, what is the definition for the term credit report? And then that student would have to give a definition, and the person who's holding that pink piece of paper would be able to say, yes, that is close enough, you get the point. And then the game would continue with the next player in the group. They pull out a piece, it's a number 6, and you would go to number 6 here and ask, here's the definition, what term is this? So that's how you can play Jenga games easily with students. Asking staff in your school if they have any old Jenga games that are sitting in a closet they want to get rid of. I know I've been able to get a couple games like that. Going to yard sales, sometimes you can find Jenga games. Going to a dollar store or Five Below, they have some Jenga games or knockoffs of Jenga games that you could pick up for pennies on the dollar, so to speak. All of our vocabulary terms from each of our lessons are listed in Quizlet. You can go into Quizlet if you're familiar with that tool and look for Take Charge Today study sets. And then you can push out to your students on their devices the study set that you want them to be introduced to or to review from. And of course, use all of the fun tools and ways that Quizlet has to be able to play and review vocabulary. And if you've never tried playing Quizlet live with a full class of students, they randomly are put into competitive teams, and it's a wonderful tool to use in a classroom. And that's a lot of fun. I remember my students really enjoying playing those Quizlet live competitions. So you could make a Take Charge Today user account if you like some of the things that we've talked about and shared this evening. All you have to do is go to takechargetoday.arizona.edu. You make an account by putting in your information, like your name, school where you teach, state, again, using my name or Hillary's name or the name of a principal or supervisor. And then that will give you access to all of our lessons. That's more than 100 lessons that you can dip in and pull out what you want, or if you're teaching a full course and you want access to all of our lessons, as long as you have a user account, you can get them all for free. We also have some videos of some of the activities I mentioned tonight, as well as some of the others, of teachers actually doing this on their own with students. Musical chairs, a couple other games about compound interest and other things. So that's under professional development tab on our website and under classroom demonstrations. Let me see, I think I can take you quickly to our website so you can just get a look. Here's the front page. I've logged in this evening so that it's easy for me to show you. There's the upcoming events. There's a little blurb about service learning. New training members, team members we've just brought on from different states, our entrepreneurship units, etc. But let's say I wanted to do something with vocabulary. I could go here, search free lesson plans, and I would go to multiple units. That's our active learning tools. And this is alphabetically organized. So the term vocabulary is way down here at the bottom. And what we've taught tonight is vocabulary reinforcement activities. I'd click there. Here's our master vocabulary list. Here's a link to take you to the Spanish version. And here is access to all of those different activities we talked about tonight. There's that bonus basket review. Here's your alphabet brainstorming. And it tells you before, during, or after any of these games where you might want to use it. And then you can print off what you need from each of the activities that we've talked about. There's crystal ball. There's the forehead detective. It gives you what materials you need to prepare, how much time you should allot, directions on how to play it. There's our mini dictionary, and it has a link to what you want to do. So there's our speedy spelling. There's those cards that you saw the teachers using and printing off. So that is the section that we talked about tonight, vocabulary reinforcement activities. But if you become a user of our curriculum, you can see here are those 8 different units of study that we have talked about and I shared with you tonight. Here's spending and borrowing. You can tell the grade level that's ideally written for. Here's finding an apartment. Here's our lesson plan, and you would download the whole lesson. Here's that cover page we talked about, place for you to write teacher notes, and then your instructions, external resources, things that you can do also. Here's some of the activity pages that go along with, I love this, advice column about finding an apartment, different scenarios. Here's somebody who's a dog lover in Des Moines, Iowa, wants to rent, and why, what should they do if they don't have the money to put down for the dog's deposit and that. So you can see here's finding apartment scenario cards that goes with another activity. Vince's gross income, how much he makes, where he wants to live in Brooklyn, New York. Go to rent.com and find what is rentable there. So you can see we try to put in real world examples and scenarios that bring financial literacy to life for students. And as we wind up here, oh, I forgot one other one. It's fun to do. Let your students be creative with their technology tools. Taggle, Tagul.com. Let them take all of the vocabulary terms in a unit or a lesson and come up with a unique way of presenting them. This is all done digitally with this Taggle.com. They can download a PDF or a JPEG or PNG image of what they're doing. And this gives them a chance to be creative, use that other side of the brain every once in a while. And sometimes they just like to take a breath and relax and do a little bit of creative work with things they're learning about. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us at Take Charge Today at email at arizona.edu. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter, what is now known as X, where we're posting things regularly about. I just posted something yesterday about the most recent inflation numbers that just came out for the month of October. And we have a t-shirt to give away for all of you. Right now, I have that Jennifer, Benjamin, Cassandra, Robin, and Aaron have been in attendance tonight. I think that covers everyone. Hillary, if you don't mind double checking to make sure that we have those 5 people and no one else.
Yep.
All right, so let's go ahead and see who can win a free t-shirt from us.
I always love doing these random deals. They're so much fun.
Yeah.
I always want to be Vanna. I want to, one day I want like the big wheel to turn, that's just not Vanna. Who was it? The Price is Right. That's what I'm thinking. Like the big one where you just
There
like,
you go. Well,
oh.
Robin, congratulations. You have won a t-shirt. Let me stop sharing my screen and I'll show you what this looks like. We have a t-shirt from Take Charge Today. It says, a quick lesson about money: earn, save, invest, repeat. And we have XL, 2XL, and 3XL left from our purchase this fall. And I know some teachers have been taking the 3XL and actually using them for a quick bulletin board display. And then at the end of a course, have all the students sign it on the back with their names and then give it away as a prize. So Robin, what I would like for you to do is email us your information. I'll put this, Take Charge Today .Arizona or at Arizona, I'm sorry, .edu. And if you would email us and tell us your full name and your address where we can send this to you and what size you would prefer, we'll get that out to you, maybe even before Thanksgiving.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lisa. I appreciate you joining us this evening and all of our participants here tonight. If you have any questions, feel free to drop those in the chat. But again, I just appreciate it so much, Lisa, that you were able to be with us and share these great resources and tools. I know that Take Charge Today is a phenomenal resource and, just so many fantastic and constantly being updated as you are right now with the FAFSA information. I totally get it. Bye-bye EFC, hello Student Aid Index and all that good fun stuff. It's personal finance is an evolving, discipline. It does change.
That's right.
I don't know that algebra changes really that much, or geometry or some of those things. You don't always have to stay abreast of whatever else is new. So it's fantastic having folks like Lisa and others that are willing to dedicate time and energy to making sure that all of these resources are current and up to date so that you can focus on the things that you need to do to be prepared to stand in front of a group of teacher or students and facilitate that. So again, thank you so much, Lisa. Really, really appreciate it.
Glad to be here. And I wish everyone a nice Thanksgiving next week.
Fantastic. Same to you, for
Thank,
sure.
thank you.
I just wanted to remind everybody of those upcoming webinars that we have. We have 3 scheduled for January, February, and March, and other ones for later on that we will announce the topics for as we get a little bit closer. Those book studies that we have coming up that I would love to have as many of you as possible join us for. And that's all for tonight. So thank you so much.